She's so fine. Hell blows my mind. Lights my day.
Breaking news tonight in Columbus. 3 people, including 2 children, were killed in a shootout there.
Happened on the southeast side of Columbus just after 6 p.m. Officers found a car riddled with bullets. They tried to save the 3 people inside, but all 3 of them died.
You have a mother who is grieving the loss of her child, and you have a young male that was also killed. This is unacceptable. I am pissed. I am pissed. I speak for the division and the officers who have to go to these runs day in and day out. It's getting tiresome.
Of course, we've had similar issues here in Cincinnati. Police have not released the names of the victims or the specific ages or what led up to the shooting, but the assistant chief who you just heard from says, quote, monsters killed 2 babies. And as she mentioned, the other victim was a young man.
What's good, guys? Today is Friday, December the 10th, 2021. This story is coming out of Columbus, Ohio via the Columbus Dispatch. But I want to thank Dee Walsh for telling me about this story. I'm going to go ahead and tell you up front, it is a gruesome story. And it is terrible. Killing of young man and 2 children on Columbus's southeast side was targeted assassination. And I will play the video that goes with these stories. The lead detective who had to stare into the car Tuesday night that held the bodies of a 4th grade boy, his baby sister, and a grown man, all killed in a hail of gunfire from 2 suspects still on the run, said that the killings were a targeted assassination and that no resources are being spared to find the shooters. Columbus Police Homicide Detective Terry Kelly, at a press briefing Wednesday afternoon, called 9-year-old Demetrius Wall-Neal and 6-year-old Londynn Wall-Neal beautiful children, and said that the scene of a triple homicide Tuesday night inside of a car in the Winchester Lakes Apartment Complex was shocking even to seasoned investigators. I can tell you that this one was different, he said. Londynn, the 6-year-old little girl, was beautiful, absolutely beautiful little girl. Her brother, the same thing. That takes a toll on the officers. Also killed in the shooting that happened just before 6:30 p.m. in the 6600 block of Kodiak Drive on the city's southeast side was 22-year-old Charles Wade. Authorities have not said what his relationship was to the children, but I will tell you that he was the boyfriend of their mother. Police said earlier that 2 armed suspects walked up to the vehicle and each fired without any apparent warning or provocation. Police had said earlier that a 3rd suspect waited in a nearby vehicle and drove the 2 shooters away, but that was not addressed again at Wednesday's briefing. Detective Kelly wouldn't say how many rounds were fired, but he said it was many. He said investigators are still canvassing the neighborhood and are hoping some surveillance camera footage will help solve the crime quickly. The shooting was a targeted assassination, Kelly said. I would like to think as a human being that the suspects didn't know the children were in there. But Kelly said he could not be certain that that was the case. When asked if the violence was retaliatory in nature or gang-related, Detective Kelly said everything is still being investigated. Columbus Assistant Police Chief LaShawna Potts, speaking at a media briefing at the scene Tuesday night with the mother of the children wailing in the background, vowed, "We will find these monsters. This is unacceptable." The Wall-Neal siblings were both students in the Canal Winchester School District, and so the district joins the rest of the community in its shock and its mourning. It is with a great deal of sadness that we inform our school community of an awful event, the district said in a letter sent to parents. Tuesday evening, 2 of our students died tragically. Demetrius Wall-Neal, grade 4, at Winchester Trail Elementary School, and his sister, Londynn Wall-Neal, kindergarten at Indian Trail Elementary School. We are shocked and heartbroken. Please hold the family in your thoughts during this unimaginable time. Counselors are available in all of the school buildings to support students and staff and address anyone who may need assistance related to this event. These 3 deaths were the latest in what's another record-setting year of deadly violence in the city of Columbus, with these killings raising the total homicides in 2021 to 186. That's a single-year record for the city. and it has been an especially deadly year of violence against children. There were 27 people killed in Columbus in 2021 who are under 20 years old. 16 of them were minors, including the 2 children slain on Tuesday night. Mayor Ginther and Police Chief Bryant call for the public's help. That was an issue that Mayor Andrew J. Ginther addressed Wednesday as he mourned the loss of Demetrius and Londynn and pleaded with everyone to pray for their families, the first responders, and the entire community. I need each and every one of you to step up and do your part, the mayor said. We are fighting for the soul of our city. As he recounted putting his own 11-year-old to bed Tuesday night, he said he couldn't escape the thoughts of the Wall-Neals. What were their favorite stories, books, games? What was on their list for Santa come Christmas? He wondered aloud. The children of the community, he said, are our collective responsibilities, and everyone must now step forward to protect them. Columbus Police Chief Elaine Bryant also spoke of the Christmas holiday. A mother should be preparing to wrap Christmas presents for her child, she said, but instead, she has to figure out how she's going to bury her children. Bryant urged community members to speak up, saying repeatedly that someone knows something and that police can't do this alone. She also said that there's no such thing as an insignificant piece of evidence. Columbus Assistant Police Chief, this gun violence has got to stop. On Wednesday morning, that eerily quiet parking lot at Winchester Lakes was barren of people, and visible signs of the unimaginable horror that unfolded there the night before had been erased. A private security guard inched his car down the street in the complex and seemed to be on the lookout for strangers. During a briefing Tuesday night at the apartment complex, Columbus Assistant Police Chief Potts said officers who were dispatched to the apartments on a report of shots fired tried to save the 3 victims, but ultimately they were all pronounced dead at 6:45 p.m. Potts' outrage and heartbreak were clear Tuesday night. We have 2 young kids who have been murdered, she said. This is unacceptable. I am pissed. It's getting tiresome. This gun violence has got to stop. Even as she spoke, the wails of the distraught woman standing behind the yellow crime scene tape echoed across the night air. They are babies. They deserve to be here. This mother is grieving. This family is devastated, Potts said. There is nothing I can say to this family that will bring them closure. On Wednesday, Bryant said there are always concerned about retaliatory violence, and she said that it's all the more reason that the shooters need to be arrested quickly. Detective Kelly gave his cell phone number publicly and urged people to call if they know anything about the homicides at all. You would not hesitate to call if you would have seen those kids last night and the state they were in, he said. His number is 614-778-9706. Before Tuesday night, 3 other children under 10 have been killed this year. The minors lost to violence in the city in 2021 are Elise Williams, 6, Ava Williams, 9, Davion Jones, 14, Davion Burt, 14, Trevin Dixon, 15, Olivia Kurtz, 16, Tyshawn Finch, 16, Bryson Brown, 4, Mackenzie Ridley, 17, Jace O'Neal, 17, Joseph Lynn, 17, Damar Carlisle, 14, Righteous McKinney, 16, Jaquan Radford, 17, Londynn Wall-Neal, 6, and Demetrius Wall-Neal, 9.
Also tonight, Columbus police are hitting the streets to try to arrest the gunman who killed 3 people, including 2 small children.
And as Lou Ann Stoya tells us, detectives say street justice won't go easy on the shooters if they don't come forward soon.
Columbus police canvassing the Winchester Lakes Complex, distributing these door hangers where the triple homicide went down.
6 and 9-year-olds should never, ever, ever be targeted or be part of a targeted assassination.
Police say it was not random. 2 armed men walked up to 22-year-old Charles Wade's car and opened fire. 4th grader Demetrius and his sister, kindergartner Londynn Wall-Neal, were fatally shot.
Whether or not those individuals knew that there were children in there, they were still monsters to fire that many rounds to take a human life.
Parents tell us they're holding their kids tighter as the suspects are on the loose. Neighborhood advocates are planning a meeting to talk with officers about safety concerns in the area.
Then we told them how to do it.
Commander Robert Strasbaugh shows us the door hangers he developed and a form designed to draw out information and even find video that may have been captured of the crime. Strasbaugh says a suspect should have remorse and come forward first to tell their side of the story.
So if it is a loved one, you better do everything in your power to convince them, because street justice is a lot more harsh than the criminal justice system.
The children's mother planning a prayer vigil tomorrow evening, 6:30, at the scene of the homicides.
This was not a random act of violence. Someone knows something.
Police and city leaders are pleading for the public's help in solving last night's shooting that claimed the lives of one man and two children. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. I'm Yolanda Harris.
And I'm Andrew Kinsey. Police, city, and community leaders say they are angry about innocent lives lost to senseless violence. Tonight, we have team coverage.
10 Investigates Bennett Haberly breaks down what's behind the code of silence in the streets.
But first, 10 TV's Lacey Crisp was there as police described the heartbreaking scene and what they need from you tonight. Lacey.
Yeah, it's hard for any parent to wrap their head around the fact that two innocent children were killed in such a violent way. But Columbus police say the three victims were assassinated.
Babies facing violent deaths in our city cannot be tolerated.
Two innocent children and their mother's boyfriend shot in what police describe as a targeted attack.
All the evidence that we have at the scene indicates that this is not a random act. It does appear to be a targeted assassination, and there's no other way to say it.
The shooting happened around 6:15 last night in the southeast corner of the city. Columbus police say at least two suspects walked up to the car where 22-year-old Charles Wade, his girlfriend's two children, 9-year-old Demetrius and 6-year-old Londynn sat. Sources say about 50 shots were fired into the car. Police say without any warning, all three were pronounced dead.
Being a homicide detective, being a police officer in general, you see a lot of bad scenes. I can tell you that this one was different.
Columbus police say they were back at the scene today, hoping surveillance cameras caught the shooting. They are hoping to make arrests before there are any retaliatory shooting or more victims.
We would absolutely love to be able to bring these people into our custody before anything happens.
In the meantime, leaders, family, and residents are trying to come to terms about how something so horrific can happen.
You would not hesitate to call had you been on that scene last night and seen those two kids in the state they were in.
We are in a battle for our city's soul. And I need each and every one of us to step up and do our part.
Yeah, so Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther has asked everyone to pray for the family, for the officers involved, and anyone with information needs to come forward. Reporting live, Lacey Crisp, 10 TV News.
Lacey, thank you. A familiar refrain tonight from the city leaders who urge the public to come forward with information in this case.
A recent investigation by 10 Investigates found a street code that pushes silence and discourages cooperation with police has plagued authorities from solving many of these killings. Tonight, Chief Investigative Reporter Bennett Haberly is here with the message from city leaders. Bennett?
Yolanda, they want people to come forward with not just information about this case, but all crimes. Our recent investigation, as you mentioned, found that no snitching, street justice, and a mistrust of authorities are all plaguing police from solving many of these killings. Today, the police chief addressed that very issue in wake of this most recent tragedy. As city leaders gathered in wake of a triple shooting, their message carried a chorus we've heard before.
We know people know more, and there's more information out there that can help us get these violent monsters off the street before they kill other children.
Somebody knows who did this. This does not occur without people talking about it.
It's imperative that we speak up and make sure that we get the shooters, our violent offenders, off the street before they have an opportunity to affect another family like this.
A recent investigation by 10 Investigates found more than a dozen dead zones across Columbus, areas of the city where unsolved murders are clustered together, where a street code that pushes silence discourages people from talking with police. No snitching is a real thing that robs families of justice.
DeJuan used to tell me, Paul, snitches get stitches. He used to tell me that all the time.
What role do you think no snitching plays?
A lot. I believe there's a lot of people that know stuff regarding whether what happened to DeJuan or anyone else.
Out of more than 650 murders since 2017, police have made arrests in a little more than 1 out of every 2. Following Tuesday's shooting near Canal Winchester, I asked Police Chief Elaine Bryant about this issue, if city leaders were frustrated by people not coming forward. Bryant responded by saying many community members do come forward, but her words were aimed at those who know details about the crimes in our city.
The people that know what happened, we want you to speak up. People that feel like snitching is a bad thing. It's not a snitching. It's about respecting your community and having compassion for the families that are going through what they're going through and speaking up and allowing us to give them some justice. This isn't snitching. This is humanity.
He said that violence against these children can't be tolerated, but the data shows that young people have been victimized by this. Since 2017, 171 homicide victims have been under the age of 21, 26 have been under the age of 12. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Bennett. Now, we've learned that Londynn and Demetrius were students in Canal Winchester schools. The district released a statement on the loss of the students. It reads in part, quote, "We are shocked and heartbroken. Please hold the family in your thoughts during this unimaginable time," end quote.
The news of 2 children murdered hits home for a group that no one wants to be part of. Mothers of murdered children place gold locks on the Rich Street Bridge downtown to symbolize the love of their children lost to gun violence. There are 45 locks on the bridge today, and 17 others will be placed this Saturday. Melissa Thomas St. Clair's son, 22-year-old Anthony, was murdered back in 2013. She has a message for those who shot and killed the 2 kids last night.
When someone hasn't even reached their double-digit years to even have development to know about crime, it makes you feel like humanity is lost. And I ask and I implore the perpetrators to dig deep in their souls and find the humanity left in them and turn themselves in and be held accountable to give these babies rest.
Saturday's event to place those additional locks on the Rich Street Bridge begins at 2. Everyone is invited.
So, how could anyone intentionally target and assassinate these small children? Like the police chief or police homicide detective said, he would like to think that they didn't know that these 2 children were in the car. I don't know. This was 6:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. when 2 armed suspects approached this vehicle and just shot it up. And now these 2 little children, who I guarantee were looking forward to Christmas, are gone. Their mom's boyfriend, gone. And now her holiday season is ruined by 2 monsters. Can you imagine having your tree up, having your presents wrapped for your kids, and now they're gone? I just can't even fathom. I can't fathom it, period, holiday or not, how someone can do that to a child, much less 2 children, much less a human. It really pisses me off. It makes me sad, incredibly sad for this mother. I'm pretty sure they're going to do a fundraiser. I was reading some things about that. And I'm going to follow this case because somebody knows something. 2 people, somebody saw something. Somebody saw them either getting ready to go, They've told somebody something, I guarantee you. Then you've got the driver. I guarantee there is a Ring doorbell with video on it somewhere. If you happen to be listening to this video, please give that video to the police. Please. Don't let these little kids die with no justice. And yes, street justice is harsher. But I would love to see somebody prosecuted for this crime. I would love to see both people prosecuted for this crime. And the third person who was the getaway driver. So this really, really bothers me. Anytime a child is involved, it bothers me. And the gun violence, it's just absolutely off the charts. So, I definitely want to put this story out there and let people know about it, for those that had not heard about it. It is a senseless killing, a targeted killing, and that's so hard to even say. But I'm going to end the video on that note, but I will keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.